Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing good today. I wanted to go ahead and go through today's video and talk about graphing horizontal and vertical lines. Now, we've graphed lines before. We've actually taken table of values to graph a line, and we've also taken just sets of points to go ahead and graph a line on a coordinate plane. But now what we're actually going to do is talk about two special types of lines that we can graph. Those are horizontal and vertical lines. So that's today's objective, is to be able to write the equation of a vertical and horizontal line, and also to be able to graph a vertical and horizontal line. So let's go ahead and get started right away. So let's go ahead and see what we got. So it says for number 1 through 3, use the table of values to answer the following questions. It says examine the table of values. What is special about this table? Okay, so go ahead and take a quick look at the table of values and think about what is special about it. Okay, now that you had a chance to think about it, hopefully you came up with the fact that every single output value, or every single y here, was 4. So no matter what order pair you had, okay, so let me go ahead and write these down. You had 1 comma 4, negative 2 comma 4, 6 comma 4, negative 3 comma 4, and 5 comma 4. So no matter which order pair you had, you always had a y value for your y coordinate. I'm sorry, you always had a value of 4 for your y coordinate. Okay, so let's see then what number 2 is asking. It says, on the coordinate plane, graph each ordered pair and draw a line through them. Okay, it says, then describe the line that you graph. So why don't we go ahead and do that now? So let's go ahead and graph 1 comma 4, negative 2 comma 4, 6 comma 4, negative 3 comma 4, and 5 comma 4. So let's go ahead and graph a line through that. And what do you guys notice about the line that you just graphed? Okay, not only is it straight, obviously, because it's a line, but also what type of line is it? Is it a horizontal line or a vertical line? Well, we actually graphed a horizontal line. So you go ahead and write, it is a horizontal line. Okay. All right, so we graphed a horizontal line. It goes straight left and right. It doesn't go up at all. It doesn't go down at all. It just goes left and right. Okay, now number 3 says the equation of this line is y equals 4. So this is the equation of that line. It asks, why do you think this is the equation? So what about this tells us that the equation is y equals 4? Okay, well, right off the bat, I think you're going to be able to conclude that the 4 has something to do with that. The fact that all those values are 4. And you would be absolutely correct. But why is the variable here y? Why isn't it x equals 4? Okay, well, the reason for that is because this here is my y. Wow, that looks like a horrible y. Let me go ahead and erase that. So this is our, that's not much better, but anyways, that's our y axis, and this is our x axis. So looking at this green line that we just graphed, which of my two axes, or which of my two axes does it cross? Did this cross my y axis, or did it cross my x axis? Okay, well, I'm sure you can tell by now that it actually crossed right here on the y-axis. So the line went straight through the y-axis, meaning that our line has to start with y whoops, has to start with y equals, and what is our y value always? Just like we set up here, it is always 4. So to answer that question, why do you think this is the equation? You would say because the line crosses the y axis. Okay. Also, each y value is always 4. Okay. So it crosses the y-axis, and the y value is always 4. Okay. So keep that in mind for the upcoming problems that you will see in the next few. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 4 through 6. It says use the table of values to answer the following questions. Describe the line that is graphed. So just tell me, looking at the line, what kind of line is it? Okay, well, it's a horizontal line. So another horizontal line. Okay, now number 5 says label all the points on the line in the table of values, then describe the table of values. So let's go ahead and do it. So this first, I'm going to go from this point all the way to this point. So the first point I see is this one. So that is, let's see, that's a -8 because it's 8 to the left and down 3. The next one right here is to the left 4 and down 3. To the left 1 and down 3. To the right 2 and down 3. And to the right 8 and down 3. So it says then describe the table of values. Well, let's describe it. What do we notice yet again right here? All of the y values are -3. So number 6 says the equation of this line is y equals 3. Why do you think this is the equation? Well, once again, just like before, we have a horizontal line, meaning it's crossing which axis? The y-axis or the x-axis? Well, it's crossing the y-axis, right? It crossed right there. It never even comes close to this axis, doesn't even touch the x-axis, but it does touch right here on the y-axis. Okay, so because it touches the y-axis, that's why we always have this y equals, and because it has always a value of y equals -3, then our equation is y equals -3. Okay, so hopefully that started to make a little bit more sense. So we were able to see two cases where we have horizontal lines. Okay, now the rule of thumb here is for horizontal lines is that we always will have a horizontal line if we have an equation of the form y equals some number. Okay, so horizontal line is y equals. Okay, it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so every single horizontal line will have an equation that starts with y equals a particular number. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and move on to number 7 through 9. It says use the table of values to answer the following questions. So examine the table of values and what is special about this table. So go ahead and write down your answer for number 7. Okay? Hopefully you wrote that. All x values are -4. So hopefully you wrote something to that effect. Okay, now it says on the coordinate plane, graph each ordered pair and draw a line through them. then describe the line you graphed. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video for a second and go ahead and graph each one of these ordered pairs. Alright, hopefully you guys graphed your ordered pairs. I'm going to go ahead and do that with you now. So double check your answer, make sure you have similar graph to what I have. So again, always starting at the, and let me go ahead and label my axes. The y, that's the x. Always start going left and right, then up and down. So -4, so left 4 and down 3. Left 4 and up 1. Left 4 and up 0, or up or down 0. So just right on the line, right on the axis. Okay, now left 4 and up 2. And finally left 4 and down 5. So once again, let's go ahead and take a straight edge and try to draw a line as straight as possible. All right. So we tried, or at least I tried to draw a straight line, but what you should end up with is a vertical line. Okay. So as we're describing this graph, we're describing it as a vertical line. So we're told that this equation is x equals 4, or sorry, x equals -4 for this particular function. And then it asks, why do you think this is the equation? Well, let's take the same logic that we looked at on the above problems. What axis is this line crossing? Is it crossing the y, or is it crossing the x? Well, it's crossing the x. Okay, and what value is x always? Well, x is always -4. All right, so let's keep the ball rolling. 10 through 12, I think you guys can do on your own. So again, go ahead and pause the video and try doing that one on your own. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 10. It says, describe the line that is graphed. Well, I'm sure you guys can tell that it is a vertical line. All right, it says label all of the points on the table. I'm sorry, label all of the points from the line on the table of values. So I'm going to start from the top and go down. So let's go ahead and do, let's see, that's a -6, 8, -6, 4, -6, 0, -6, -5, and -6, -8. It says describe the table of values. Well, right away we can see that all of the x values are -6. And once again, like all the other questions, it says the equation of this line is x equals -6. Why do you think this is the equation? Well, we would say something to the effect of the vertical line is crossing the x-axis and all x values are -6. Okay, hence why we have the equation x equals -6. Okay, so as long as you write something similar to this, stating the fact that the line is vertical because it crosses the x-axis, hence why it has an equation that starts with x equals, and then specify what that value of x is. So for our general rule, we will say that vertical lines have an equation in the form x equals some number. So notice that this box is completely highlighted because if there's anything you take away from this lesson is that part right there. Vertical lines start with x equals a number. Horizontal lines start with y equals and then that number. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do a few problems with you guys for 13 and 14, and then I'm going to have you guys try a few on your own. So let's see what we got. So right away I see that the equation here is x equals 8. We're trying to graph that equation. So what do I know about that particular graph? Well, it starts with x, meaning it has to cross the x-axis. And if we look back up to our notes, if it crosses the x-axis, right, it crosses like this, anywhere on here, right? It's crossing. So what type of lines are these? These lines are vertical, okay? Now we have to be more specific than that because we're told that, yes, it is going to be vertical. However, the x values are always what? The x values are always 8. So if I go to my coordinate plane and go on the x-axis at 8, I know this has to be a vertical line because it starts with x equals. So from there, all you have to do is take a straight edge and draw a vertical line. Okay? Don't forget you put your little arrows at the very end, guys. That's very important. All right, next one. This next equation starts with y equals, and as we know up top, it's because it starts with y equals, it has to cross the y axis. Okay, so if it crosses the y axis, it's going to look something like this. It's going to cross the y axis, cross the y axis, cross, cross, cross. Okay, so what types of lines are those? We know that those are horizontal. Okay, so because those are horizontal, all I have to know now is, okay, if they're horizontal, where are they horizontal at? Well, the y value is always -7, so let me go down to -7, which is right there, and I know this has to be horizontal, so I'm going to draw a straight line horizontal at that point. All right, so we have our two graphs right there. I think I may let you guys try out these next two on your own, and then we will get back and try see if we got the answers correct. So go ahead and pause the video and try those two out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this next problem. So again, right off the bat, starts with y equals, meaning it has to be a, remember guys, look up on your notes if you don't remember, but remember, it has to cross the y-axis. This is your y, this is your x. So if it crosses the y-axis, it's going to go like that, meaning it's going to be a horizontal line. So let me go ahead and erase these example ones. And it's a horizontal line at, whoops, at y equals 4. So let's go to y equals 4, which is up here. And because we know it's horizontal, all I have to do is draw a straight line through that point. All right, so double check your answers. Make sure you got that correct. Okay, last one is x equals -4. So because it starts with x, we know it has to cross the x-axis, meaning, again, this is my x, this is my y, so it has to cross the x-axis. Okay, notice that none of these lines are crossing the y. Okay, they're crossing the x, meaning that they are vertical. So let me erase those. So now I know that this has to be vertical. Okay, and vertical at what point? Well, vertical at the point x equals -4. So let's go left 4 right there. And because it's vertical, I'm going to go straight up and down. Don't forget your arrows at the ends. Okay, so hopefully you guys got those two correct, and we can move on to the final few problems. Okay, so it says write the equation of the given line. So let's verify a few things. So what I would have you guys do is write down, whoops, where did I come up with Z? Your X and Y axis on all of these. So Y, X. Okay, do the same thing on the other two. Y, X, Y, X. Okay, so let's see. It says write the equation of the given line. Well, I have my line right here. Let me go ahead and highlight it. This is my line. What axis did it cross? So let me go ahead and draw my axes in two different colors. Did it cross the Y, which is in blue, or did it cross the green, which is the x-axis? Well, right away I can tell it crossed right there. Okay, meaning it crossed the y-axis, so my equation has to be y equals. Now, y equals what number? Well, y equals, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the origin right there, so y equals 5. And if you wanted to verify, guys, go ahead. I would actually say, I would recommend that you guys actually write out what these ordered pairs are from these 2 points. This is the ordered pair negative 6 comma 5. This is the ordered pair 5 comma 5. Notice again what is true about both y coordinates. They are always 5. So y equals 5 is our answer for number 17. Okay, number 18. Okay, well, right away, let's go ahead and try. If you have highlighters, go ahead and use them. If you don't need them. All you have to do is look to see where it's crossing. Okay, it looks like this line. Actually, let me use a different color. Looks like this line is crossing this line. Well, what axis is that? What axis is it crossing? It's crossing the x-axis. So my equation is definitely going to be x equals something. Well, x equals what? What is my y coordinate at that point? Well, let's see. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So x equals 5. Again, if you're not convinced, guys, tell me the ordered pairs of these 2 points and then double check your y coordinate. So, I'm sorry, your x coordinate. So this is the ordered pair 5, comma 3. This is the ordered pair 5, comma, looks like negative 3. Okay. Again, what do you notice about both of these? Both of those are 5. Hence why x equals 5. Okay, so before I finish this video, I want you guys to try out these last two on your own, and then we will come back and double check our answers. Okay, so this next one crosses right here and here. The two bold lines that I see crossing are those two. One of them belongs to the x-axis, so this is going to be an x equals because it's a vertical line. Okay, now let's see, where is my x? So it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I went left 8, so this must be negative 8. So x equals negative 8 is your answer. Alright, so once you get good at this, you'll start to remember and notice that anything that's vertical has to start with x, anything that's horizontal has to start with y. So for number 20, right away I see that this is a this is a horizontal line, hence it has to start with y equals. Well, what is my y coordinate? Again, from the origin, I look for the graph and it's only up one space. So this has to be y equals 1. Again, if that doesn't convince you guys, always write down the order pair for these two values, these 2 points that you see here. So what are they? Negative 5, comma 1. This is 6, comma 1. What two values were exactly the same? Well, this 1 was exactly the same on both of them. Okay? Hence why our answer is y equals 1. Alright guys, I think we're going to go ahead and finish up the video there. I hope you guys had a better understanding now than you did when you were coming into this. Alright, this is actually not too bad of a topic, guys. I think if you guys can tackle this particular topic, you should have no problem looking at the rest of the sections in this chapter. So, for now, I'm going to go ahead and say later, and I will see you guys soon.